अरे नारे नारे ना
जरा सा घूम लूं मैं
अरे नारे नारे
Hello YouTube people. I'm talking to you here because well, you've seen in the introduction of the video my various data about my studies, my name, where I live, what I do. So I'm making these videos now. I've made a lot of videos and I'm making them more and more, faster and faster, to get this message out absolutely, that we have to be able to tell the world that Obama is the Antichrist, because the day following his election the Illinois lottery drew 666. So this is a very simple thing to understand, and people often think, well, the 666 should have been stamped directly on Obama, as if people you know, watch Hollywood movies so much and they don't want to interpret reality at all. They just think that things happen like in a James Bond movie or a Tom Cruise movie, and somehow the 666 will be branded on his head, or they think people are extremely childish and brainwashed by Hollywood. They don't understand that you have to interpret things. If you when you interpret things, it's stronger than Hollywood. This is not a leap of faith. I'm not saying to you people that you must believe and that you'll be elevated and you'll be raptured or you'll be impressed or blown away. No, it's really, if you do the analysis, you'll see that it's worse for Obama than if he had the 666 branded on him like a kid, a calf having it branded on him with searing hot iron, having 666 written on, burnt onto him. It's worse than that. He was elected on the 4th, and the lottery draw of 666 came out on the 5th. And what you have to see is that it was branded on Obama, because the newspaper articles were made on the 5th, because newspaper articles have a midnight deadline which they have to meet, and then after the articles go to press. And then the newspapers come out at 4, 5, 6 o'clock, so there's 4 hours between midnight and 4 o'clock, and they print the articles in the newspapers. So Obama's election news was out there, and the reporters had making their articles, but they have to work, reporters have to work, so they worked from early morning next day after his election. They got to work, and they worked all the way till midnight. And in that time span of that day of the 5th, the next day after his election, suddenly in the evening, so it's curious. It's incredible how precise this is, and you people will be transported by this. You'll just be overwhelmed when you think about this. The lottery happened in the evening at 8 o'clock, when the news reporters had been at work from early in the morning. They'd probably gotten up at 4 o'clock in the morning to gather this massive amount of material about Obama's win, and the photographies and the sound bites and the video cameras and the sound, the audio sound they had. It's probably massive amounts which they had to go through very, very quickly, work. So they probably, some of them were had worked non-stop probably since the election. They had been, some of these reporters had probably been working for 36 hours non-stop, probably exhausted. And at 8 o'clock suddenly they got this jinx, this curse which fell upon them, and then it was over. But the funny thing is that if the lottery had come out, let's say at 8 o'clock in the morning, and some reporters probably been up working all night, and they'd maybe slept till 8 or 9 o'clock, then they see this lottery, and then they could have made a big deal about it and analyzed it, and somehow it would have affected them more if they had known it in the morning, because then they could go out and talk about it. But because it happened at 8 o'clock in the evening, the articles were made, so they weren't, so they were probably just seized with terror, and they were like, going over the Niagara Falls, because the deadline was at midnight. So they said, I'm not going to rewrite my article and say that this guy is the Antichrist or whatever. And so nobody said he was the Antichrist, and I don't think it translated into consciousness. It was just like they were probably seized in terror, and they just put out the articles as they had made them, like he was the winner, and they showed this man as being fabulous, Mr. Fabulous. But their duty as reporters was to say the lottery drew 666 last night at 8 o'clock. And so these newspapers came out in Illinois, same as all over the world, which were massive newspapers, like 20 pages, massively about Obama, from page to page, from beginning to end. It was all Obama and photographs. Probably the first page had a big photo of Obama. Probably Obama's sitting like this, or looking like this, looking like some genius. And probably back page had stacked up with photographs of Obama waving, drinking Coca-Cola, and with Nike. He had become the favorite object of adoration of people. People were just completely taken up by this guy. But their work as reporters was also to report the lottery, and if there's a $50 million or $100 million win, all of Illinois was waiting for the lottery too. They said, okay, Obama, the great, everything, great, Obama, yeah. And then also they were watching their numbers, the lottery numbers, and watching the results coming up on TVs, because when you're a lottery player, you're addicted. So they're always thinking, okay, well, I've got to check out my number. And then suddenly they have Obama won, and then the lottery number on the TV screens telling them is 666. And they say, wait, I went to Sunday school. 666, I remember what 666 is. 666 is the number of the beast, of the Antichrist. So the reporters put this into the newspapers. So now there are the newspapers from that day. Probably in Illinois, I'm sure there are some people who have kept those newspapers. Probably even a few collectors went out and bought all the newspapers they could buy, because they probably thought, I can sell these newspapers for a mint, I can probably get $10,000, $50,000 off. If this is the proof that this guy is the Antichrist, and there's 666 and the full newspaper about Obama's win, then we're looking at the Antichrist. Probably some collectors went out and to the newsstand and said, sell me all your newspapers. I'm going to make it big in 10 years. Maybe he thought, when people like like this guy Garrett Smith. That's me. Probably you think this, if a guy like Garrett Smith comes along and makes a lot of videos, and he tells people all over the world through internet to spread the message, and the guy will be revealed. Obama's going to be revealed. Probably some guys are going to. Anyways, those newspapers, we've got to get them out, and so that we have to get them on. That would be a very good thing if you guys can go try to get hold of the Illinois newspapers, and then we have the full newspapers with the Obama news. We have the 666 number inside, and then we put that on internet. And Obama's finished. So you guys do that. I'm waiting for you guys to do that. We're going to wrap this up, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Get ready.